We should just tell the truth quickly. They're going to cut us off.
There are some really bad things going on here.
We cannot accept a culture of silence.
I am Damian Holbrook from TV Guide Magazine and TV Insider, talking with Jennifer Aniston, star and executive producer of The Morning Show, which is coming back with Jennifer.
Finally.
I know. Right? Did you go into everybody, the writers' room, and say, "Okay, just make everything horrible for Alex"?
No. You'd think, no, if anything, by the end of the season, when I'm literally crawling to the finish line, and I mean crawling, I was literally thinking, like, is Carrie trying to kill me? What's going on? I can't live. Get me to a comedy, please.
It's so much like she cannot buy a break.
No, she can't. I don't even think she's been offered one.
No.
But it is sort of, I think, be careful what you wish for. She takes a step back to go into a more peaceful life and finds some, inner peace and solace and tranquility, and then she gets seduced and sucked back in.
And she hands back all of that happiness and peace that she had.
All that happiness. And then I think she really tries to maintain this newfound inner peace and humanity that she was able to kind of look at and take inventory on while she was away. And then it just unravels.
Yeah.
It just unravels.
And there's such a moment in the second half of the season where we start to see Alex, and I feel like it's something that almost every actor would want to say at some point, like, it doesn't matter what you think of me. This is who I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
It
true.
felt so authentic to me to listen to, because you've been through it all with the press, and you've dealt with every angle of this. To just
Not
be able
all
to say,
of it.
like,
It's not over.
everybody, like, everybody needs to take a breath.
Yes. It's just everybody loves an opinion and has an opinion, and that's great. And social media, there was a simpler time 15 years ago. I think, the birth of instant, news becoming so fast, and everything is watched, everything is online, every single thing. So and people have this ability to sit in a little cubicle or wherever they are, hidden by a computer screen, and just tap, 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 and just have a field day with you. And just,
I love where Alex ends up. I love the journey she gets to, of, like, almost a self-acceptance.
100%.
Star and executive producer Reese, this is a great season for you. I feel Bradley has so much great stuff to go through, and I don't want to spoil anything, but how exciting was this for you to, like, take her on this incredible journey?
It was amazing. And I think that was so cool about season 2 was that season 1 was really about the storm before this big moment of change at this network. And season 2 is about picking up the pieces, who's in charge, how are we going to do this? And my character is put in the lead anchor chair, but kind of doesn't know how to navigate it. So she's on this journey of self-identity that's really confusing and exciting, though,
So excited. And then they bring in Juliana Margulies as Laura Peterson, this former pro. They partner you guys together, and your stuff together is so interesting, and I feel like that relationship really benefits both of them, but in an emotional way. It's not one of those, like, transactional ones.
Yeah, and I think we all learn from people who have been in an industry for a really long time. So Bradley is really learning from Laura Peterson, and I could not have asked for a better co-star. Juliana Margulies just brought so much wisdom and thoughtfulness and humanity to that character. And it was kind of the perfect partner for all my scenes because Bradley is just new to the world of media.
You got to dig deep for some stuff near the end of the season. That must have been, that's a lot of heavy lifting.
You know what was really great about the relationship between Bradley and her brother, because he is an addict and she comes into his life and creates so much chaos, is that how many people on the crew said, "Thank you for doing this story. I have somebody in my life that really, I needed that kind of just to see someone else struggling with the things I'm struggling with. So I hope people can relate to that story and maybe find some solace that they're not alone.
Mark, I'm so into Chip. He was one of my favorite characters last season.
Oh, thank you.
And I love getting to see you in this role, because I think a lot of people think The League, but they don't know like a lot of the other stuff that you've done. This character, he's probably the most sympathetic one. Why would he come back into this world? He'd gotten out.
Yeah. Well, I think that, this whole second season really is about identity and making choices about who you want to be moving forward in this new world order. And Chip is confused. He used to be in a position of power. Now he's not. And I think he's thinking, you know what? I'll just leave that place behind. I'll go get a nice job in a small town with normal hours. I'll get a nice girlfriend who treats me well and doesn't emotionally abuse me like Alex does. And I'll get happy.
Yeah.
And that all sounds great on paper until you realize that Chip kind of has a God-shaped hole in his center. And he is being drawn back to this life. And I don't think he wants to. I think part of it is the breakneck pace of UBA and that news world. I think part of it is he doesn't understand what it's like to not have power after having power for so much. And I think a lot of white men are dealing with this right now, and they're very confused by it, and they're tenaciously holding on to what they have left. But I think the biggest element is that he's obsessed with Alex, and he is codependent on her and that sort of toxic, confusing relationship. And so I don't think he can live without her.
Billy, I love Corey Ellison so much.
I'm so happy to hear that. Thanks, Damien.
He's a little weird, right?
I would say he's a lot weird, yeah.
Okay, all right. So there's something almost, it must be so fun to get to play this guy because he's got so many different sides to him. There's a side to him that's very playful, but also very calculating. But the playful side is really interesting.
Well, when Carrie first started writing some of these scenes in the first season, I can remember approaching her, Carrie Aaron, the head writer, and saying, he seems wildly different in this moment. Am I misinterpreting it? And she would look at me and go, and I would say, so he's wildly different in this moment. He has a different personality.
Yeah.
So he's a bit of a chameleon. And
yes.
Oh, so he's just an operator working the room. He's trying to figure it out and he loves doing it. She's like, I was like, okay, roll it. Got it. That's perfect. You really just wind me up, put me in any scenario, and I understood how Corey would try to manage it.
And this season, he goes through a lot. He can't buy a break this season.
No, this is not a season. He got to revel last season and gracefully bid adieu to some of the people who had been a thorn in his side. But this season, this is when you get the keys to the castle, do you know how to rule? And I think perhaps Corey, through his experience last season, started to build an affection for the show and for Bradley and for Alex. And so now he no longer has nothing at stake. And that has a different kind of effect on his way of being.
For more on The Morning Show and all of your streaming obsessions, don't forget to check out TVinsider.com.